waiting for is here. It is. This week's video is a little dark. We're talking about something serious, but I want to talk about something else that's serious and horrifying and exciting and something that you've wanted for so long. As you know, my best friend Chris and I made a horror movie. Like, we filmed it, we went out in a week, it was fun, the trailer is here and it's ready for you to see. Now, even better news than the trailer is the fact that Chris and I are going to be doing some screenings, and they might be near you, and we are going to be there. We're going to be at the screenings, and we're going to see you guys, and we're going to talk about the movie, and we're going to do a Q&A, and it's going to be extraordinary. So I hope you're excited. Don't poop your pants. Actually, you probably will. You're probably going to poop your pants. Enjoy.
We are going to a place called the House on Eden Road, and we just wanted to know if you guys have heard of that before.
I've actually never heard of the House on Eden Road.
I read about a girl going missing like 60-ish years ago. I don't know who, but that's what I read online.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel good about this.
How sick is this?
Okay, I'm excited. We're announcing where the screenings are going to be this week. You're going to be able to buy tickets. I hope you guys are excited, so keep on our Instagrams because we're going to be announcing stuff there, and it's going to be great. So now we're going to jump into the other video, the one that I filmed about 2 weeks ago. It's dark, it's deep, it has a very important message. If you have kids, sit them down. Enjoy Boo Crew. Can't wait to see you in theater! September is here, and for a lot of Canadian kids are back in school, and a lot of American kids are already back in school, but Boo Crew, today we're going to talk about something a little bit serious. I was scrolling Facebook, and I saw the face of this beautiful little girl, and her name was Cara. Here's a quick little clip.
I'm going to talk about bullies.
Cara is a 13-year-old
People
in
don't
America
understand
in grade 8 who is going through it. The truth is she's being bullied quite extensively. Something that she talks about in her video is the fact that, you know, she stress eats. Amen. Same here. She says she's a bigger girl and people are absolutely horrible to her. It's 2024 and it blows my mind that this kind of thing is still happening. Am I surprised? No, but I thought that by now there would have been something in place to stop these kind of things from happening. Cara seems like a really wonderful person, but her story is not unique, unfortunately. So if you have young kids, if you have high school students, if you have college kids, heck, if you work in an office environment, you know that bullying happens, and maybe it's time to sit you down and the rest of the people around you, because I want to tell you my story. You can tell by looking at me that I am also not a small person. And so what? I went to 3 different high schools. High school was not an easy, kind, and nice time to me, and it didn't just start there. It did start when I was around her age. Once you hit grade 8, you are that huge fish in that little pond. And I think that these kids are either getting stressed, prepared, or trying to fit in. So when they're in high school, they think that they have a chance. Because the truth is, high school's a rat race. College is a rat race. It all is a rat race. Life is. But the weird thing is that we're all fighting for the same thing. To just exist and to get through every day. Because guess what? It's life. There's no winners. None of us are going to get out of here alive. When you're in grade 6, 7, 8, you're really starting to come into yourself. You're really starting to learn who you are, who your friends are, what you like, who you're becoming. And that is absolutely scary. And I can't imagine, on top of trying to figure out all of these things about yourself, you have to deal with things like bullies. The truth is, and I'm going to call out you bullies right now, the people that make the comments, the people that move their chairs back into Cara hurting her as she walks by, they are insecure, tiny little people where, you know what, they're probably more insecure than Cara is about herself. Because Cara wouldn't do that to people because she doesn't have that inside of her. I have learned time and time again, and let me tell you this because as an adult I have learned the people that hurt you are the most hurt people that you will ever meet. For me, I had a lot of it go on in my family, along with lots of other kids out there, and I'll tell you, those family members, broken. Those kids that were so horrible to me, broken. So many people since then that had bullied to me had come to me and said, you know what, Selena, I'm so sorry for how I treated you. Now, did it take me getting famous on the internet for that to happen? Yeah, it did. And I hate that. I hate that even more. I remember I had bullied one person once and I felt so sick about it that not only did I apologize in high school, it ate me alive. And one time I saw her in a drive-thru and I said to her, I am so sorry. And she didn't even remember it happening. When I was in grade 7, my mom got sick. My mom got sick really, really fast. My dad was in Japan and I heard a crash and my mom was on the floor and I thought that she was dead. And it flipped my world upside down. I started listening to angry music. I started wearing black. I started acting out. But so did the rest of the world against me, because in this time when I needed people and care the most, they weren't there. They criticized me for it. I had some close friends, but I was getting weird and they were uncomfortable with that. You're 14. You do not feel okay in your own body at 14. I remember going into grade 9. I was so excited. I remembered seeing these cool punk girls and I just wanted to be their friends, but of course they wanted nothing to do with a Niner. But there were other groups of girls. I was trying too hard to fit in. I was going to the smoker pit. I was trying to make friends with all these different groups, but I didn't fit, and that's the truth. Sometimes you just don't fit. And when you're that young and you have to find company in yourself, when the voices in your head are so loud, it's not really a safe place. I was in a public school. These girls were horrible. I wore a lot of black, a lot of makeup that really shouldn't have mattered. It really shouldn't have, because inside, I was a really nice person. And if these girls would have taken any time at all to talk to me, they would have known that. There was a trio of girls. Think Mean Girls, in a way. They hung out in the smoker's pit. They were cool. They had made up a rumor, chosen me among all of the grade 9s, and decided to tell people that I skinned animals alive and I impaled them on fences. That rumor lived, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew, to people saying that I had stolen their family pets. They thought it was hilarious. One time, in English class, I left class. They were in the hallway. I had gone to the washroom. I was on the toilet, I had headphones on, and I didn't really think anything about it. I saw feet around the bottom. I popped my headphones off. They were laughing. They were snickering. I said hello. There was no response. Then I smelled burning. The girls were lighting pieces of paper on fire and dropping them over the side. They had brought a garbage can in, jumped on top, and put wet paper towel around the sprinklers. I tried to get out. They wouldn't let me out. I went to the principal. Nothing was done. 2 days later, I'm walking home. These same girls threw beer bottles at me, hitting me in the head. People around laughed. No one said this is who did it. No one said I'm sorry this is happening. No one said, hey, let me walk with you. These girls pushed me into lockers, their forearms smashed against my throat until I thought I was going to pass out. Teachers walked by. Nothing happened. I stopped going. I laid in bed and I told my mom, I'm not going to go to school anymore. I'm not going to go. Because the things I've told you were just some of them. It was all day. It was every day. It was notes in my lockers. It was boys peeing through the grates of my locker or pouring it in. I don't know how. A lot of it just because I listened to loud music and I wore black and I was a little different and chubby. People were talking to me like I was the biggest person in the world. I was 150 pounds. I don't get it. People were making fun of me for things that weren't even reasons to make fun of me. Yes, I was weird. And yes, I did weird things. And maybe some people would think it was warranted. And I'm sure there's people out there that think that. But I was in a free fall. My mom was living in and out of hospitals. My dad and I were never able to connect, and it was not a good relationship, and I just didn't feel like I had a great place. My mom was sick, so before school, it was mom. At lunch, it was mom. After school, it was mom, and I was getting to a place where I was going to crack. I spent all my time in bed, and I said, I'm not going to school anymore. I'm just not going to go. My mom went to the guidance counselor, Mr. Robinson, a wonderful person, and said, I don't know what to do. I remember pushing her in her wheelchair, and I sat there in silence, and she just said, she won't go to school. She wants to switch schools. I don't want her to switch schools. And that guidance counselor said, let her. So I went to a Catholic high school. I thought, this will be great. My hair will be black, I will wear a uniform, and I will fit in like I'm supposed to. No one will notice me. I was new. Of course they noticed me. I was halfway into the grade 9 year. We had come back from Christmas break. It was January, second semester of grade 9. Everyone had already made their friends. I didn't expect the Catholic boys to be worse. I don't know how, but it was worse. There's this one boy named Ben who called me the darkness. He would laugh in my face. He would throw things at me. There was a boy on my bus who was horrible. He threw a rock at my head, cracked it open, got a stitch, went to the hospital. The school had suspended him. Later on, his mother called into the school saying that I had made up the whole thing and I had come and apologized because he was having a hard time getting into college. My phone was taken on the bus and thrown out the window. Again, these are just the smallest parts. Was I weird? Yes. But that didn't mean I deserved that. I was having a hard time at home. I was having a hard time with people. There was no soft place for me to land. So I made a horrible decision. I didn't want to be here anymore. At all. My mom was sick. And for months and months and months, I had taken pills of hers. Kept them in this little Kleenex pouch. And I had this crazy fight inside myself between taking it and not taking it. I wanted to be here because I felt like I'd seen movies and I knew that things could change. And I felt like I could help change things. I wanted to change things so bad. I went to school one day. This girl, horrible, had decided to go down to the principal's office and tell them I was on mushrooms. We had just left English class. She went there. I was in my next class. They called down and asked me to come to the office. The principal said, "Hey, did you do this?" And I said, "No." And like, "Okay, well, we're going to send you home." And I said, "I didn't do anything." I'm like, "I'll pee in the cup. I didn't take mushrooms. I didn't do anything. Like, look at me. I'm completely fine." That principal sent me home. I hadn't done anything. That was it. I called a crisis line. I said, "This is my plan. I need you to stop me." I had a horrible relationship. Things at home were not good because my mom was sick. And my dad, of course, was upset with that because of that. And I just felt like I was going to implode. I remember sitting on the front porch with a suitcase. And I had that pouch in my hand. I was waiting for the police to come and pick me up and take me to the hospital. I was at the bottom. I was at the very bottom of my life. And I took that pouch and I took those pills and I popped them through a crack in the foundation of our porch. Because no one else was giving me a chance, but I was going to give myself a chance. Even though I did not feel like it. And I sat in that hospital for a week. And I didn't feel like I was meant to be there. I learned the stories of all these different people around me. And I felt stronger. It was a hiccup. It was a blip in the radar of my life. I remember getting out of the hospital. The principal wanted to see me before I went back to class. And I went into her office and she was crying. And she said, "I'm so sorry that I didn't believe you. I feel like this is my fault." And I said, "It wasn't you. It wasn't just you." And then I went to drama class and I sat in the auditorium and I walked 3 seats in and I sat down and that boy, that Ben, just went, "Well, the darkness is back." What I know now and I didn't know then was that he was going through a lot too. But I don't know why I had to be his punching bag. There were people that stood up for me. There was Katrina, there was a lot of different people, but there were a lot of people who didn't. But the truth is I was free falling. And the fact that we are here, we are now, we are in 2024, and the fact that these little problems are still taking over these schools. I hear about more suicides now than I did then. I live in a town, not anymore, but I lived in a town of about 35,000 people. In 2016, For about 8 months of the year, every month, a different student in our tiny town took their lives. When there's school shootings and stuff, we look at these kids and we look at them and we say, well, maybe it was the bullies, maybe it was the parents. Do you just wonder what everything would be like if we just chose to be kind? If we just chose instead to hold our fucking tongues and just look at that person and pretend and put yourself in their feet and imagine what they're feeling like if we took 5 seconds before we make a decision. Because the truth is, the only control that we ever have is how we react. How I react to a situation is the only control that I have in any situation. And the fact that this Cara got up and a boy shoved his chair into her so hard to bruise her stomach, that was his reaction and that was his choice, is disgusting. We all have our own stories. We don't know why that person's speeding on the road. Maybe they are just a dick, but maybe someone's dying in the hospital. Maybe, maybe that chubby girl eats because it helps her not hurt so much. Because I know that that's where a lot of my things come from. Maybe that girl who doesn't eat, maybe that's the only way she feels control. Maybe that kid is wearing the same clothes because guess what? Their life's not as great as yours and they don't have maybe a dual income family or enough money. Maybe they didn't even have breakfast this morning. You don't know what's going on in that person's life. What you know is what's going on in yours. And if you were hurting and somebody was mean to you, you go, what's wrong with them? So if there's one message that you can take from this video, it's to remember that you have control over how you react to things. And it doesn't matter what that other person is going to think later on about what you said or how you acted, because the truth is, no one is as concerned with you as yourself. I just wonder what this world would be like if everybody took a second before they reacted and if everyone just chose kindness, because I have done that for a few years now. And it's a game changer. Sometimes forcing being happy and forcing being kind can actually make you. Didn't feel like force for me. I think sometimes the kindest people come from the hardest situations. And I have a million stories I could tell you guys. I could write a book this thick. But instead of living in that trauma and that pain, I just try to make life a little bit easier for people around me, and that fuels my soul. And I can promise you that you'll feel a lot better about yourself if you treated people the way that you wanted to be treated. And Nakara, if you see this, I think you're a wonderful girl. And I think that you're going to go really far, and I think a lot of these little asshole bullies are going to peak in high school, and they're going to apologize to you one day. And I'm very, very sorry, because I have been you and I have been where you are. And I promise you that you will look back on these days. And yeah, they'll hurt, but you'll be glad you're here. And you'll be in a different place. And it'll be good. I don't want to say things like it'll make you stronger or you're glad it happened, because it doesn't feel like that. And I can tell you that as an adult. But I want to say I'm proud of you for speaking up. Because you're a voice for the people who are too afraid to talk about it. You're the voice for the girl who is sitting in her room crying. And maybe someone saw that video, or a bully has seen that video of you speaking, and it has changed the way that they're going to react and how they're going to treat people. So I thank you for being strong enough to have a voice. And I am very sorry that this is your reality right now. So until next time, Boo Crew, I love you. Make great choices. I believe in you.